The terror of Chuk Chuk Jack. The island of Nordavik had been swallowed by snow, its mountains standing as silent witnesses to the horrors lurking beneath. No one dared to venture outside after sunset, for the tracks that ran through the island were haunted by something unnatural, a train with the hunger of a beast. The government of Vagard, the nation that controlled Nordavik, had grown desperate. Supplies couldn't reach the island, and the last rescue mission had vanished without a trace. Their final hope rested on a man known only as Varen, a rogue assassin infamous for taking on the impossible. The mission begins. Varen arrived on the island, stepping off a military aircraft into the freezing winds. Clad in a reinforced coat and armed with a customized ATV, he was ready. His ATV was a war machine, fitted with mounted guns, explosives, and reinforced wheels to handle any terrain. His mission: hunt down and destroy Chuk Chuk Jack, the monstrous train terrorizing the island. Recover its 4 glowing teeth, each of a different color, to ensure its true destruction. His only lead was a village elder who spoke in whispers about Jack's cursed origins. But before he could dig deeper, the air shook with a distant rumble. The first encounter, night fell, and Varen took his ATV across the frozen wasteland. Steam rose from the distant tracks, and then a deafening chuk chuk, chuk chuk. The ground trembled. From the fog emerged a nightmare in metal and flesh, Chuk Chuk Jack. Its body slithered like a serpent, with a train's engine at the front, but a jaw filled with jagged, glowing teeth. Its eyes burned red, and its screech sounded like steel tearing through bone. Varen gritted his teeth. "Let's dance, you mechanical freak." The ATV roared to life, dodging as Jack lunged, its steel fangs barely missing him. Varen fired his mounted guns. Bullets sparked against Jack's iron hide, but the beast only grew angrier. It twisted, its tail smashing the ice, sending shards flying. Varen pulled out a harpoon launcher, aiming for Jack's mouth. The shot flew. Direct hit. One of Jack's glowing teeth ripped out in a spray of dark, steaming liquid. But then something unexpected happened. Jack screamed in pain, then sniffed the air. The moment its gaze locked onto Varen, its rage turned to fear. With an unearthly howl, the train retreated into the mist, vanishing along the frozen tracks. Varen, panting, picked up the first glowing tooth, a vibrant crimson, still pulsing in his hand. Why did Jack run? Then his ATV sputtered, damage from the battle. He needed repairs. The strange villager. He dragged his damaged ATV to a nearby abandoned village, where a lone engineer named Ivar offered help. As Ivar silently repaired the vehicle, Varen noticed a map on the wall, marking 2 military camps hidden on the island. Could they have the weapons he needed? As Varen rested by the fire, Ivar handed him a mysterious metal part, saying it would help him in ways he didn't expect. Unknown to Varen, Ivar installed an AI into his ATV, a sentient system that could analyze threats and make decisions. With his ATV repaired, a mysterious AI installed, and 1 glowing tooth in his grasp, Varen knew his battle with Chuk Chuk Jack had only just begun. The cursed history of Chuk Chuk Jack. The howling winds of Nordavik Island screamed through the frozen ruins. Varen clenched the crimson glowing tooth in his fist, staring at the endless railway tracks disappearing into the fog. Jack had fled, but why? The assassin's ATV hummed, its engine running smoother than before. What Varen didn't know was that the strange part Ivar had installed wasn't just a repair, it was an AI system. As he revved the ATV forward, a voice suddenly crackled through his helmet's earpiece. New directive initiated. Locate and neutralize hostile entity. Current objective, acquire remaining 3 teeth. Varen's grip tightened on the handles. Who said that? No answer. Something was off. But he had no time to investigate. He needed more weapons, and the map he found at Ivar's place marked 2 military camps buried in the snow, one in an abandoned bunker and the other deep inside an ice cave. The first military camp, the frozen bunker. Varen reached the bunker, a rusted metal door barely visible beneath the snow. Inside, he found frozen bodies of soldiers, their faces twisted in horror. The walls were scratched with words, "The train is alive." On a workbench, Varen found a railgun, a weapon powerful enough to pierce steel. But as he was leaving, he heard something shifting behind him. A pair of glowing blue eyes blinked in the dark. Varen spun around, gun raised, but it wasn't Jack. It was something worse, A twisted, half-human creature, its body fused with mechanical parts, crawled forward whispering, "You should never have taken the tooth." Varen fired the railgun, blowing its head clean off. But his heart pounded. What the hell was going on? The truth about Chuk Chuk Jack. Returning to the village, Varen sought out an old woman named Sivka, one of the last survivors. She sat near a fire, chanting prayers, her eyes filled with fear. "You want to know about Jack?" she whispered. "Varen." Sivka exhaled sharply. Jack was once a train, but now he is something else. Long ago, a mining company on the island built a train to transport silver. But they dug too deep, uncovering something unnatural, a living, breathing entity beneath the ice. The mine itself was alive, Sivka said. It cursed everything it touched, the train, the workers, even the land. One night, the train derailed near the mines. The miners tried to bury it, but the curse infested the steel, merging with the wreckage. The train rose again, but now it had a will of its own. The first thing it did, it hunted down the workers and ate them. Jack isn't just a train, Sivka warned. He's a predator. And if Varen was taking its teeth, then Jack would return, angrier than ever. The second military camp, the Ice Cave. Varen's next stop was the Ice Cave, deep in the mountains. Inside he found a hidden military stash, explosives, flamethrowers, and armor-piercing rounds. But as he loaded his gear onto the ATV, he felt a cold breeze. Then, the ice trembled. Outside, the railway split apart, and from the shadows, Chuk Chuk Jack emerged once more. But something was different. Jack was bigger, angrier, his metal scales twitching in rage. His mouth opened, revealing 3 remaining glowing teeth. One blue, one green, one white. The assassin smirked. "Round 2, you bastard." The second battle, Varen fired his railgun. The shot pierced Jack's hide, sending sparks and black liquid spraying into the snow. The train shrieked, whipping its serpentine tail and slamming Varen's ATV into the mountainside. Varen coughed blood, his vision blurring. But then, system override engaged, initiating evasive maneuvers. His ATV moved on its own, dodging Jack's attacks. The AI was alive. Jack lunged. Varen used his harpoon gun, aiming for the beast's jaw. The harpoon ripped out another tooth, the glowing blue one. Jack screamed in agony, his metal body twisting unnaturally. But just like before, he retreated, vanishing into the night. Varen panted, gripping the second glowing tooth. 2 down, 2 to go. But then Sivka's words echoed in his mind. Jack is only the beginning. The true horror lies beneath. And as the ground rumbled beneath his feet, he realized something terrifying. Something was waking up beneath the mine. The final battle and the awakening of the minecart. The snow-covered ground rumbled, and a deep, guttural groan echoed from the abandoned mine beneath Nordavik. Varen tightened his grip on the 2 glowing teeth, one crimson, one blue. He knew Jack would return for the rest, but something worse was waking up. The assassin climbed onto his AI-enhanced ATV, the vehicle humming with an intelligence he didn't fully understand. The 2 remaining glowing teeth, green and white, were still in Jack's mouth. One final fight would decide everything. The last stand against Chuk Chuk. Jack Varen reached the old railway junction, where the tracks met near the mine's entrance. Snow fell in thick sheets, but the air was filled with an eerie Chuk Chuk Chuk. Jack was coming. The ground split open as Chuk Chuk Jack tore through the blizzard, his massive metal body slithering like a serpent, steam rising from his steel-plated hide. But this time, Varen was ready. The AI spoke through his helmet. Combat mode activated, calculating weak points. Varen smirked. "Let's end this." Jack lunged forward, his glowing eyes locked onto Varen. The assassin fired his railgun, the shot blasting through Jack's armor, exposing the green tooth beneath his jaw. Varen revved his ATV, speeding forward while deploying flamethrowers, burning Jack's metal scales, forcing him to rear back in pain. With Jack momentarily stunned, Varen leaped off his ATV, landing on Jack's side, gripping onto the exposed plating. With all his strength, he ripped out the green tooth. Jack screeched in agony, shaking violently, trying to throw Varen off. But Varen wasn't done. Using a grappling hook, he swung towards Jack's skull, reaching the final white glowing tooth. As Jack prepared to slam his massive jaw shut, Varen jammed an explosive grenade into the train's mouth. Boom! A deafening explosion tore through Jack's skull, sending the white tooth flying through the air. The beast howled one last time before its metal body convulsed and collapsed, steam hissing from its shattered remains. Chuk Chuk Jack was dead. Varen stood amidst the wreckage, holding all 4 glowing teeth, his breath fogging in the icy air. He had won, or so he thought. The awakening of the minecart. A deep roar rumbled beneath him. The ground cracked apart, and something massive began to rise from the abandoned mine. Sivka's warning echoed in his mind. Jack was only the beginning. The true horror lies beneath. From the dark abyss, a new terror emerged. The minecart. It was a monstrosity of rusted iron, chains, and jagged stone, its legs resembling a giant scorpion. Its minecart body filled with molten rock and screaming faces. The entity clanked forward, its giant pincers snapping, its tail dripping with liquid metal. The AI spoke in Varen's earpiece. New hostile entity detected. Danger level extreme. Varen clenched his fists. Of course there's another one. The minecart charged, its tail striking like a whip, sending lava-covered debris flying. Varen barely dodged, his ATV swerving to avoid the molten rock. He needed a new strategy, and then he saw it. Jack's wrecked body, still sparking with energy. Varen realized he could use the glowing teeth. The final strategy, turning Jack against the minecart. Varen placed the 4 glowing teeth into the ATV's control panel, and the AI reacted instantly. Activating emergency override. Suddenly, Jack's broken remains shuddered. The AI had taken control of Jack's scattered mechanical parts, forcing them to move. For one last time, Jack was fighting. Varen grinned. Let's see how you like it, you overgrown pile of rocks. The reanimated remains of Chuk Chuk Jack launched forward, slamming into the minecart, throwing it off balance. Varen seized the moment. He loaded his railgun with explosive rounds and fired directly at the minecart's molten core. Kaboom! The minecart shrieked, its stone and metal body crumbling apart, molten rock spilling across the ice. The monster collapsed, sinking into the mine's abyss, its terrifying screams fading into darkness. The ground rumbled one last time, and then silence. The end of Nordavik's nightmare. Varen stood in the quiet snowstorm, his ATV humming beside him, the glowing teeth now dim and lifeless. Chuk Chuk Jack was gone. The minecart was destroyed. Nordavik was finally free from its curse. As he prepared to leave the island, the AI in his ATV spoke one last time. Mission complete. However, data suggests a deeper anomaly beneath the mine. Should we investigate? Varen sighed. Hell no. With that, he drove off into the blizzard, leaving the cursed island behind. But deep beneath the mine, something stirred once more. The curse was never truly gone.